Hey all, it is the 14th of February. Happy Valentine's Day to those who follow that. Let's get started. Some just kind of general quick announcements. We're speeding up V2 of support uploaders deployment to this week. I had prepared a very casual rollover. Then the domain expired for V1 and it's now completely broke. So V2 will be going out this week. That's going to also include the Zendesk Super app because that's tied to it. That docs, all that stuff, I'm going to be working on finalizing that today and tomorrow, and then it'll be deployed. I have an AMA on Thursday. It will be recorded. That's just generally to ask questions if you have them. I'll make my best attempt to answer them. Yes, this is way more rushed than I intended. I, for some reason, thought the domain expired in March, and I had time. Did not. It expired yesterday. It expired, I guess, on the 10th or something.
Why we didn't get any intimation for that? Because I can see now that we have got that email as a support ops regarding that your support uploader domain has to be verified. The verification.
We don't own the domain.
Oh,
that's part of the problem. It wasn't. It expired because I failed to renew it, or anybody failed to renew it. Nobody in GitLab owns that domain, so it expired. We don't have a lot of choice. If you're familiar with like ICANN registrar stuff, even if I wanted to go register that domain myself and take it, it's not. They have to give the correct owner a certain amount of time to re-register it. So yeah, we're kind of in a problem there. So best thing to do is we already have this thing that is pretty fleshed out. We've been testing it. So the best thing to do is, just get it live.
Right. There is another thing regarding this, that we are using the support uploader to upload the large files. That was the basic game. And because Zendesk limits the limit to 20 MB per file.
I think they upped it to 50, didn't they?
Well, if I remember, it was still 20. If I remember that correctly, let me really quickly check that. Yeah, still 20, I believe. Oh, the maximum file size has been changed to 50. Yes.
And from what I recall, allegedly Zendesk is working on something for even bigger files. So maybe there's a future where we don't necessarily need this for all our customers.
Probably.
I know there's like the Send Safely app, and people were pointing to that, and they're like, that allows up to 10 gigabytes. And I'm like, but it stores the file on someone else's server, and that's not okay. Like, that's not okay. It needs to either be Zendesk or ours.
Right.
But I mean, there is a future where Zendesk ups that to 1 gig, 5 gig, or I think at a certain point they'll get to a size where it's acceptable for us to say, cool, that should be acceptable. We don't need anything bigger. There are some contractual obligations with some of our customers where they do have to have this ability to upload to a secure location. So obviously we'll still have something for them, but that will be a case-by-case basis instead of a general practice.
Right.
But yeah, so that should go live. I'm aiming for tomorrow. I have one last sync to have with one of the customers, and after that, and I get that squared away, we're going to go ahead and make that live. Ironically, that customer is the only one who can technically use it right now because they don't access it via any form of UI. So yeah, that's fun. I fixed all the protected branches permissions for all of our projects today. So those who can create it, those who can merge, those who can push. I made a script and updated all of those. So now it's just the 5 ops people can merge, and only me can merge to push to master. And that's like a specific, there is extenuating circumstances that require that to happen very rarely. A good example was last week with the changes that we had. I needed to push to master to update our support team YAML. I did not want MRs notifying the entire team of everything while that was happening. And yeah, I didn't want to edit our MR template to do that, to then try to put it back in place, because we want that notification for regular MRs. But that should be fixed. I now have a script, so if we add another ops person or an ops person changes teams or whatever, it should be easy to update, make it a lot easier moving forward. I'll eventually get that into our toolbox repo so that y'all can see how that works. Cool. And I'm gonna. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Saw that. Yeah, I saw that actually. The whole script you use for protecting MR, Ronald helped you out on that. I saw that.
Yes,
message.
I was struggling a bit on that particular API endpoint. It is a little complex, and some things are not as well documented. I might, if I have some free time, go edit that MR that API doc page to add more detail on how that works, because it was kind of confusing and I didn't understand it. And I use our API a lot, so it's a good indication that it needs more clarification. Cool. And I'm going to spend some time this quarter reviewing our project setups in general, and like the settings and how we're doing some of the things. I think we can tweak them a bit to be a little bit better. We use code owners on some of our things, but then we don't on others. And I feel like we should be using code owners on probably everything. And then having our approval process, or the approvers, becoming the code owners. Things like our triage bot usage, I feel like probably needs to be tweaked at this point. I feel like we can probably make it a little better. So I'm just going to kind of do a general review and look at them. I know with like how we do the responsibilities, we edit like the MR template to ping the exact people, and I don't necessarily love how we're doing that. It feels really manual. It feels easy. Like as of right now, we had somebody leave the team. We're looking at every federal MR template has to be updated. And I don't necessarily love the manual process of that. I feel like there should be an easier way to automate that. So I'm going to kind of look into and play around with that, look into the features of GitLab and see how I can kind of enable us to do that.
Good. Also wanted to know about the license generation to the staging from production.
Still working on it.
It's still working on it.
Yeah, so for right now, proceed the normal method. Once I get all that fixed up, and I'm working with James Lopez on it, once we get all that together, I will kind of do I'll update our docs, and I'll message the team to be kind of walk them through how this works. But honestly, it's going to be the exact same thing you're used to. It's just we're going to tweak what we reply with in the issue, and the URL that you go to do everything changes. But other than that, like it's going to look the exact same. So if you're comfortable with the process now in CDOT, CDOT staging, it's going to look the same, just different URL.
Got it. Perfect.
But what we reply to on the issue is going to be different. Instead of just saying we've sent the license, we're also going to want to include the information of it's a staging license. This is what you're allowed to use. This is what you need to do to your instance to make it work. So I'm working all that out with James Lopez, and we'll get that together. Yeah, I don't have updates yet on that, because right now I'm waiting for all of us to get access to staging. So that's the first part. After that, we can update docs, and I can make sure the pages we point to are accurate, and it's good to go. But yeah, so I'll update y'all on that once we're ready to go forward with that. As of right now, it's same process as usual.
Got it.
And Nabil, you said you're still good to do that solo right now, because I know.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, once we move over to staging, I will probably assign another person to you. That way, you're both doing it. I might even do 3 this time, 1 in each region, so we're kind of covered. Because as of right now, like obviously, if they file during a mayor, they've got a pretty long wait until you come back online, and we don't want that. We don't want to block development and stuff like that, waiting on a human being to come around. And obviously, I get like CC'd and I can see them and all that stuff. But
Jason, I was wondering if we can automate it. It is automatable.
There's a milestone that me and James have to look into that, or if not automating it, enabling the users themselves to go generate in staging. So what we're doing is probably going to be an interim thing, because we are working on the next stage I mean, first it's moved to
Okay.
staging, and the next stage is let's automate this. I've told James if he can get me like an API backend to it, then I can actually just make a form that goes to CI/CD that processes it and sends it and all that stuff. So yeah, no, we are working on the actual automation of this. So look forward to in the future me basically saying, don't have to worry about it anymore. That's the ideal, but
Awesome.
not quite there yet. For right now, it's still a very manual process.
Okay.
Cool. That's all the updates I really have. Obviously, you know, it's midway through the month of the first quarter of the year, so a lot of stuff that's kind of happening and boiling. Keep up the great work. I'm very happy with everything y'all are doing. Our queue's in good condition, even despite, you know, the flood of tickets we've gotten. We're working on issues really well. I think we're doing a really good job. So keep up the great work, y'all. I really appreciate how hard you all work.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns?
Not at the moment.
Cool.
I'm clean.
Cool. Well, if you need anything, you know where to reach me. Have a good rest of your day, y'all.
You too.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.